I am going to do a BMR of a Linux system. This is a 8.10 Oracle Linux. The original system, I believe, may have only had 2 CPUs, but for doing BMR I gave it 4. For practical BMRs, modern systems should have quite a few more CPUs, so having 4 should be small relative to what an actual BMR would be. The original memory was 4 gigabytes, which I increased to 8, which does improve the performance some. The 2 disks are 144 gigabytes, just like the original. The configuration, the Windows system added a USB controller on its own. There have been problems in the past. I haven't noticed them, but largely that may be because I always add a USB controller to Linux systems. Sometimes it doesn't notice the mouse, and adding a USB controller will help with that. So we will get this one started. Go to the console. Let BMR get started. As before, I'm not going to do any specific network setup. The system is set up to get an address from DHCP, and our environment is set up to allow that, so I'll just accept the DHCP address that has to show up. The secondary is the same as before. The system, the guest is hosted on the same host as the other one was, and as with the other one, is also using a solid-state disk for its destination device. The 2 VMDKs are in the same data store. The interfaces are similar, but the ordering of selections differs slightly. The snapshots are presented last, whereas on Windows, the snapshots are presented before making the guest selection. This also has an independent dialog for setting the network, but as noted, since I'm getting the address from DHCP, I don't need to do anything here. And here's the BMR itself. In the section indicated by select a snapshot to restore. We will take the most recent one as before, and I will have to do a bit of scrolling to see the entire screen here. So we will go to the next screen. This is where things differ more. I want to make sure that the boot EFI are on the SDA disk, which they were originally and they are now. The second disk that's part of the same volume group, SDB, only has root and home on it. So we will accept these. Don't have to change anything. If these have to be changed, there is a menu that will allow doing so. The selection of what file systems actually want to be restored is also slightly different. There is a select all if there's a lot of them, but in this case there's only the 4, so I don't need to use select all. And then a summary screen to tell me what it's going to do. The warning that it is going to overwrite. We start the restore, and once you get to this point, you can select restore status and see the progress of each file system. This doesn't include the additional messaging that the Windows version has to indicate amount of data, how much is restored. Once it actually starts restoring the individual file systems, there is some additional information there. There is not the same message section that's on the Windows BMR. The messages section doesn't have much additional either. It will show completion once a given file system is complete. That will also be shown here. We're starting to move on boot. Doesn't take long once it gets going. I'll go briefly back to the messages section so you can see that you do get a message once it completes. I think the startup time on the Windows side, you get to see the details in the messages section of iSCSI mapping the disk images from the snapshot. This hides all of that, but you see it just not doing much until it starts moving data and has the iSCSI disk mapped. The sizes shown in the section above are the actual file system sizes, not the overall capacity, the available capacity, not the amount of space used. While I am waiting for it, while there's not much value into starting a terminal during the BMR because there's not much to monitor, it is useful to have it later. I believe for this particular system, the root and home file systems are both XFS. Boot EFI is whatever it normally is, and I believe by default /boot was also XFS. Switching back to the messages screen, you see the completion messages appearing as each one completed. It's more noticeable for this one, but the restore on Linux goes in 2 steps. The actual restoring the data, and then one called building the volume. And it's done. The one thing that separates the Linux VMR from the Windows is as soon as you click OK on this one, it's going to reboot the system. So if there's anything else you need to do, such as copying the log files, you do it before selecting that, which is why I started the window earlier. The log files on the BMR system are in a DPX directory underneath root, and there is a log set of the collected log files. And I can use SCP to copy those. Yep. Take advantage of file name completion to save me a little bit of typing, and go back and put in the path, and we'll actually add some of this. Getting my fingers in the right places. Mammoth demo, and then put in the IP address. Did not get the character that I wanted there. Should be correct. And copied. So now I can go back to here, let it reboot. And let's get back to here. Quickly get back into the configuration to turn off the network interface. So that it can boot and not interfere with the original system. But once I get into the system, I can go into the network setup, change the address, which I didn't do on the other one. I probably won't do here other than to take a short tour to show that the file systems are there. And this BMR will be completed. And it should be shortly presenting a login. I wasn't looking at that, and I may have typed something in the wrong place. Usually, it logs in straight away, so I must have missed something while I was not looking at it. Start up a shell. Fairly ordinary looking root file system, which does have the BMR log set in it, but which is convenient because it's feasible to get to it. And my home file system, which has a samples directory and my personal directory. And there it is. If I can spell this correctly, I can also do the network setup while I'm here. NMTUI. Not using my normal keyboard. There's the connection. And this is the reason that I put the actual target address in the VM name, so I don't have to remember what Chinook's address is. Nothing else changes for this particular case. Go over here, go down to there, change the host name. It's a little bit quicker to do this part of it. Okay, one more NMTUI. We will deactivate the connection on the host side so that I can go back over here, re-enable the connection here, get back out of this briefly, which we'll come back to once more. Check the address. Not set because it's not running. Should be set. And hopefully I won't have to do the same address when we're done. 62.226. So. And we have a working network, and the two systems have different addresses. So that is an example of a successful Linux BMR. Thank you for your attention.